Welcome from Munich. You probably have seen already my Z5 Xperia tips and tricks video. If you have, you won't see much new here with my Compact, since obviously they have the same software inside and almost the same hardware except for a smaller display and a smaller resolution obviously, and a little bit also of a smaller price here on the Z5 Compact. If you just bought your phone, you definitely want to know how to set it up right, how to use it the right way, and that's what I'm going to show you in this tips and tricks video. Or there's no wrong way actually of using this phone, I guess, but it's quite easy to just not see all the features that are deeply layered in the software. So what we have here is a beautiful white device, so that you can see here that the theme is also white. Once I unlock my phone, you will see that on the background we have here this nice animated display, which you can easily change, for example, with themes by just doing a pinch move and then hitting the plus button and themes. Now here we have right now light, but I could also choose, for example, red, orange, maybe I want green. Looks a little bit strange, but what I can also do is download more from the store for money or not for money. Up here on top, of course, not only these 6 or 7, but there's a little button to do that, or I can also just hit here the Xperia button for having just on maybe each side different paper, and I can also say I want a live wallpaper or no. So themes are fun, but what's even more fun is to choose your own wallpaper. Here you can see that there's quite a few available, or if you just shot a picture, that's also possible right here on the bottom. Let's just go back, and if you want to change the home settings, it's also possible to change the size of the icons, which are large right now. I could set them up with small. Before it was also possible to set up the home screen as a rotatable home screen. That's not available anymore for some strange reason. You can see it here on my Z3 Compact. Sony ratified that, which is a little bit sad because it was quite a nice little feature. But anyhow, of course, widgets and apps are not that interesting. That exists for, I think, since Android exists, so that's quite good still to have, and Apple doesn't have that and will never do that actually, as far as I know. But another way to get to the same feature list is just long pressing here the button, and here you can actually also delete the different pages that you have created if you want that. And the same way it works also in app drawer. So if you want to delete a few apps, rearrange them or anything, you can just simply do this pinch move, delete, for example, here LiveLog, Sociable, or all kinds of other apps that Sony pre-installed. Of course, not all of them, like for example Google apps are not possible to delete, and some others are also not possible to delete, like the File Commander or Smart Connect, but obviously like the apps that I have installed, those are easily removable. You can see here also that we can sort the apps and change the home settings. It's a little bit different now again than on the previous Sony model, since you don't have here this extra little thing coming up when you go all the way to the left. But what you can still do is here on the bottom you have these little dots that indicates you on which page you are of your apps. Maybe you remembered which apps you have on which page. But what you can also do is, if you have a lot of pages, you can just go here through with your finger over the dots, and then go from the first page to the last page quite easily. Of course, on 3 pages doesn't make much sense, but if there would be 5 or more, this is quite handy. Or if you just know the name of the app, like for example, maybe you want to read some ebooks, we can type in Kobo, and then there's Kobo Books, and we can easily open it up also this way. But you can also see, if I already have my keyboard open, is what can be quite handy, the bar on the top with the extra letters and numbers. The first time Sony will tell you when you open up the keyboard, maybe you want to adjust your keyboard, but once you set it up and hit OK, it's hard to find that option again to do so. So the only thing you have to do is go to the second page and your options, and then you have here different words or different things that you can set up. Like for example, I want maybe a dark skin, can't also harm, needs maybe a little bit less power and also looks more manly. But what you can also do is just change the whole keyboard settings here, and I can here with symbols and smileys also get rid of the numeric keys on the top, so I have a little bit more space for reading, of course, the content I'm writing. Or what I can also do, for example, is I don't want any verse suggestions here, and then I have even more space, and I can set up also different languages I write in. For example, I write in German, Hungarian, and English, and I can easily do that here and change between the keyboards. Now, one reason that you should do that is actually, for example, for gesture input. So I can show you guys what that is. Probably you know. So if instead of just typing like this, what you can do is just simply connect the dots. Washington, for example. There we go. Quite easy and more productive, if you ask me, to type anything anywhere. So these are the basics you have already seen on the Z5. I will show you a little bit more, but let's go into some details that are a little bit more thrilling. Like, for example, let's call somebody without knowing them our number. So to block your own ID, phone ID, while you call somebody else, all you have to do is hashtag 31 hashtag, and then there is a number like 505, whatever, that you want to call, and then you call them and they will not see your number appear on their phone. Can be quite handy. So all you have to do is hashtag 31 hashtag, and then you just type in a number you had before. Now, drawback of this is obviously if you have a contact set up and you just want to call a contact that you have on here, like for example maybe David. I can say I want to call him. Let's actually don't even know who David is. Top contacts. Do I have any contacts on here? I'm not sure. Yeah, let's do here David. Let's hit this little button, and then I don't have a network available right now, but somewhere it should be possible to also say that the number you called, you want to of course edit that, and then easily just type in the hashtag 31 hashtag before. An even more interesting way to block things is, if you're already with blocking here, a little camera feature that is definitely awesome for anybody that wants to use the water protection features of the phone, like I do with shooting my underwater videos. It's easy to block the display from not getting any touch inputs by the water, because water is of course resistive and it will do all kinds of weird shit. So what you have to do is go to the settings, then again settings, and all the way on the bottom you will have your touch block, which is quite important to shoot, for example, pictures or videos underwater with just the buttons on top, because then you can't obviously hit here the button to underwater to shoot a picture, but what also the water can do is, for example, stop the video, and you can unlock of course your phone again by swiping here your finger. So that's one nice little feature that you can use in the camera. Otherwise, I can definitely tell you to download more, more features on your phone for the camera, like for example time-lapse or anything else, because those are handy and not everything is on here, and it's really just good to have some extras that Sony didn't include, even though they include quite a lot of things here inside. Like for example, it's easy to set up your quick settings by just pressing here this tiny little button again, and then you can have up to 9 things here on your quick settings. But if you have that many here, you cannot change these 3 on top. But if you have that many, you won't see your notifications anymore. And a way to not always see your notifications first and then only the quick settings is using 2 fingers to drag down here the top bar will get you right away to the quick settings. And also here everything else that you can see on top is more easily accessible then. So if you're already in the settings, let me show you how to use, for example, the Fingerprint Reader. That's also quite easy to set up, and it's really not only good but fast, as you can see, to get into your phone, and it's really secure. For the first time Sony has done that. All you have to do is in settings, go to security, and all the way on the top, there will be your fingerprint manager where you can add up to 5 fingerprints. Now you can tell the phone that you can still want to use your PIN number if you don't want to use your thumb right now, and you can also set up all kinds of other protection and trusted devices and so on, and that can be quite handy. What's even more handy is to have a long battery life, and the Z5 Compact has an extremely long battery life if you ask me. But to prolong that even more, you can set up here in power management different stamina, ultra stamina, and low battery mode, and so on. So you can first of all check out what apps need the most power. In my case, it's usually the screen, since I do a lot of videos about what the phone does. It's not so much games or anything else, but you can see I have had the phone running for a long time now without plugging it in, and to not having it plug in for a long time further is easily done by saying, for example, for myself, I want at a certain percentage of battery life, let's say 22, that the screen is not as bright anymore as before. What I can also say is I don't want then to GPS to be on. Of course, right now it's not on, but it will just definitely disable all the features I don't want. This is the whole list, and you can also set up the screen timeout and so on. So it's quite handy to just go here through these different things. In the low battery mode, which I can obviously also turn off again, and even more handy is stamina mode, where you have all kinds of extended usage. You can say which apps should not run at certain times, or should just run when all kinds of other apps want also information from the LTE 4G network to save a little bit of power. Now this is alright. I would actually just leave the stamina mode on all the time to just have a really good battery life. What I should not use most of the time is ultra stamina mode. It's awesome to really prolong your battery life for a long time, but a lot of things will disable. You can't use your apps anymore, and there's just basics like phone calls, SMS or text messages, and all kinds of other basic stuff working then if you will use the ultra stamina mode. So that's only when you know that there is no power for the next, week, when you go into the hills or anything like that and just want to use your phone as a phone, not as a smartphone, then the ultra stamina mode can also be handy. What's also is a good thing about controlling what's happening on your phone, you will see that right here at sound and notifications, because not only, of course, you can adjust your sounds and notifications right here or here at the same time, but there is here on the bottom a little place called app notifications, which I love. So you can, for example, disable notifications from apps that you don't want to get notifications from, that you use sometimes, but you just don't want any ads from them, like for example Facebook, Amazon, or anything else that on here, live log and so on. So that's easy to disable just under sound and notifications, app notifications almost all the way on the bottom. Of course, there's all kinds of other things that you can here set up. Again, just go here through the list for yourself and check it out. Also, to get developer options, also really quite a good thing. You have to go to About Phone and press the build number 10 times. You see, I'm already a developer, so I don't have to do this anymore, but it will tell you when you have this option here after pressing it a few times. You can go in here, turn it on, and then what you can definitely do is go here a little bit to the bottom to make your phone faster and use less power. You can turn off animations. So then you won't have animations, the phone reacts faster, you can react faster, and you can just be more productive without these actually also nice animations, but a lot of people just don't want them, don't use them, and don't need them. What you also don't need is to press the buttons all the time to turn the display on and off. You can just go here to the display. All the way on the bottom you have the tap to wake up option. I love that. It means you can just double tap the screen to wake up the phone. Obviously I have to type in my key now or use my fingerprint, but if you don't use that, that's really quite handy. If you have this on though, the screen is a little bit more sensitive and you should not turn on the glove mode for that. I know that's awesome in the winter, but otherwise in your pocket maybe the phone will unlock itself, and that's not that handy. Adaptive brightness can be good, it's not always good. I have it usually off and I adjust the brightness for myself, as you can see here, but it's a little bit sad that you cannot set adaptive brightness right away up there on the notification level. But it's alright, you just have to know about that. Otherwise there's all kinds of other features here again, like the font size that may be interesting for a few people, and the smart backlight control can be also handy for turning the screen off when you're not looking at it. But that's again not too new, as is not the X Reality Mobile option here by Sony, which is quite nice to just have nicer colors, as you can see here in videos and pictures. On the lock screen there is the standard Sony little clock that you can change by just long pressing it and going left and right. If you don't want to do it that way, you can also just do it here on the display. It's the same thing. Right here you have your 3 little clocks that you can choose from. Also wallpaper and system icons, you have seen that on the beginning of my video. What else? Of course, we have a few things left, like for example, we were already in the About Phone section here on the bottom, but what I haven't shown you is Diagnostics. I love that area because I can get to know my phone really quickly, like for example what software I have, how much space I have, a few more other facts like how long has it been on, how much RAM is running right now, and so on. You can see all kinds of infos, and under the test little tab here, you can also check out anything in your phone that's built in, like for example if the buttons are working, if the loudspeakers are working, if the display is working. Of course it's obviously working since it's working. But there's a few cool tests, like for example the gyroscope, where you can just try to get this ball here to the little star, and so on. So there's quite a few things that you can test your phone on if you are not sure if a button works or anything like that. Maybe it's just it just needs to dry or anything else. Yeah, there's a few things that you can do under Diagnostics. And I think I'm already through, which is quite interesting because I thought it will take longer. So this was my Sony Xperia Z5 Compact tips and tricks video. I hope for the Z5 Premium I have a little bit more new stuff to show you guys, but I hope you still like this little video. Thank you much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to check out more, of course, tech videos on my YouTube channel.